Hi, my name's Isaac Shutt. I'm an estate planning and probate attorney. My office is in Richardson, Texas, but I'm licensed to practice law both in Texas and in Wyoming. The main area of law that we handle is estate planning, but we also handle a lot of probate. Probate is the process that a will goes through after you pass away. It's a legal process, typically requires an attorney, requires a judge, and some people ask, should I avoid probate? And so that's a really great question. And there are some attorneys that say, well, that's really easy. And they'll say, yes, you should always try to avoid probate. Although I'm not sure that's necessarily true in Texas. See, in Texas, we're known for an easy and inexpensive probate process. If it were California, on the other hand, where the probate literally costs 10 times as much and can take years to complete, I think it's a much easier answer. If you lived in California, I think you would definitely want a trust to avoid probate. But in Texas, where our probate can be done often in as few as a few weeks with a good attorney-prepared will, I think it becomes a lot harder. So let's talk about the pros and cons of trying to avoid probate versus not. So the first question is, how do you avoid probate? Well, that's going to typically require a trust. And at our law office, we use something called a revocable living trust, and they're sort of specially designed to avoid probate. They cost a little bit more to prepare than just a will. So the will is kind of like the most basic thing that you can have, and a trust is a little bit more than that. So the question of whether or not it's worth it really depends on cost and hassle. So with a will, it's a little bit easier and a little bit less expensive during your lifetime, whereas with a trust, it costs a little bit more and maybe is just a little bit more hassle during your lifetime. But the trade-off is what happens when you pass away. With a will, the will's going to have to go through probate, which will require your family to hire an attorney and go to a probate judge. Whereas with the trust, no probate would be required, so your family will have less money to spend and less hassle after you pass away. So while some attorneys, even in Texas, will say, well, it's obvious, you should definitely have a trust to avoid probate, I really think that's not right. There's just sort of two personality types. So typically, we'll have one kind of person that says, a will is perfect for me because it's easy to establish, it's less expensive to establish, and frankly, I don't care what things cost after I pass away because I'm deceased at that point. What does it matter to me? And so for that kind of person, you would much rather have a will, and you really don't need to try to avoid probate. On the other hand, we have another personality type that says, you know what, if it only costs a little bit more now and it'll save my family expense and hassle after I pass away, I definitely want to do that. And so there's really not a right or a wrong. It's, do you want to do a little bit more now to save hassle for your family, or do you want to do a little bit less now and it really doesn't matter in your mind what happens after you pass away? Not an easy, clear answer for every person. It just kind of depends on your personality type. I think the really important thing here is that there isn't a one-size-fits-all, and that's why it's important to talk with a lawyer. So there's a real problem with going to online will generators and form places and things like that, which is you're not really getting counsel. You know, if you just start Googling and doing web searches for what's best for you, you might be led into something that's actually costing you more than you would really want. So the important thing about going to an attorney is that you're getting counsel. The documents are just sort of a byproduct of what we do. What you really get from a lawyer is advice, is counsel. You get a lawyer who's handled many cases before, who can use that experience and say, you know what, I think you're the personality type that would rather like a will or would rather like a trust. And so you can have a professional that will help you weigh that out, help you weigh the pros and cons for your situation, and make you help you make a really good decision about what's better for you and for your family. So with that, we'd love to hear from you. Again, my name's Isaac Shutt. I'm of the Shutt Law Firm. We're based in Richardson, Texas, although we help estate planning clients all over the state of Texas with mytexep.com. You can read more about that down below. We have a new online process for really great estate planning process without shortchanging you on the attorney advice and counsel. So you're getting top-notch documents. You're getting the advice of counsel, a personal relationship, but you can be anywhere in the state and you can start whenever you want. So again, we would love to hear from you. Check that out below and check out our other videos as well.